Hi, I'm Dr. Jamie Guthill. This is a cleanse follow-up class. So this video is appropriate to watch if you're about 2 weeks into the 21-day purification or if you're about 7 days into the 10-day. For everybody else, don't watch this. If you haven't done the detox and you want to start, go back and watch the video with the little horse on the cover. So first off, congratulations for taking this first step. And it really is a first step, completing the purification program, because now we have to start thinking about the rest of your life. So we need to start taking the time to plan for day 22. And you want to start by looking at how your definition of healthy food has changed with the cleanse. I mean, what is different to you now? How does food look different to you? Also, what are your goals now? What do you want to keep up with? What do you want to accomplish? And then definitely planning on how to get there. So we're really looking at the rest of your life, which is a little orange line at the top. And when you did the 21-day cleanse, when you started it, you started seeing improvements immediately. And those improvements, things changed dramatically. But as you continue, once you're finished with the purification program, changes won't come quite as fast. They slow down. And it's really important to think about that, because you don't want your expectations to be, that you're expecting dramatic changes to keep happening. What you want to do really is 3 months from now, you want to look back and go, well, have I lost more weight? Do I feel better? And the answer will be yes if you continue. And for some of you, when you finish at 21 days, you're going to actually stay on the detox program, because some people want to continue to lose quite a bit more weight. And we'll talk about that at your meeting when you come to see me. One of the things you've probably noticed already is that you're starting to identify real food from fake food. So in other words, you know when you're eating healthy and when you're not. And that's an awesome thing, because you can't be fooled, but you also then will hold yourself accountable. So there's different challenges as you come off the purification program to be aware of. And one is really how quick we forget. We definitely forget how wonderful you felt while you were on the detox program, and how good it felt, how much better you slept, how much clearer your mind is, all the benefits. So we do tend to, kind of take those for granted and forget about them. Then another thing that's really important to remember is what are your personal challenges, because those are the things that are going to trip you up when you're off the program. For example, are you a sugar junkie? Do you eat when you're stressed? So you really want to start to think about and recognize what your own personal challenges are, so you can be more aware of them and be able then to handle them. And of course, the media doesn't help, because they're out there to sell more food to you. So the media will certainly make you feel like it's more inviting to either go out to eat some sort of processed food, rather than fixing something yourself. And then also, people can be difficult. People's places and events. And socially, when people are eating unhealthy, and even in work environments, when they're eating unhealthy, people tend to want other people to eat unhealthy with them. So if you're kind of eating in a healthier way, it can be a little bit awkward sometimes, because people really do like to push food. And so you just kind of have to be ready for that. And also, like I said before, when you really have the knowledge, it's also a little bit of responsibility that we have, because we realize that eating bad isn't good for us. And when you do eat bad, you'll feel a little bit more responsible for it, because you really will understand and know what you're doing. So let's talk a little bit about reintroduction, because reintroduction is really about adding the foods back into your diet that you've not been eating. And the reason that we exclude some of these foods like dairy and grains and eggs and nuts is because many people have either allergies or sensitivities to these foods. And since you haven't been eating them for a period of time, when you add them back in, you're going to know if they make you feel bad. But the most important thing to do is to add these foods back in one at a time. And the reason is that, let's say you have a sensitivity to wheat and you eat wheat. You could have a reaction within an hour. You can actually even have a reaction within a few minutes, but you could also have a reaction 2 days later. So if that reaction happens 2 days later and you introduce dairy and grains on that first day, you're not going to know which caused the problem. And then if you add nuts in the second day, you won't know if it was the nuts that caused the problem. It gets really confusing. And the fact is that it can take several days for a food that you're sensitive to, or even a chemical you're sensitive to actually show or exhibit problems for you. So you really want to be able to identify food allergies and sensitivities. So add them back one at a time every couple of days. The most common sensitivities are with dairy and grains and chemicals. With dairy and grains, it's easy because you can just add one and a couple days later add the other. Chemicals can be a little bit trickier. But with chemicals, you just have to know that sometimes you eat a food and it just makes you uncomfortable, and it can be in a restaurant or in a package, and it isn't necessarily the food in there that made you feel sick. It could be the chemical that's in the food or was added to the food. Allergies are easy to tell because they usually create an immediate response, while sensitivities, again, take several days. And some of the symptoms that you may experience a couple days in could be digestive, including gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, reflux, pain, overall allergies or hives or skin conditions like eczema, joint and muscle pain, very common, tight muscles, headache, brain fog, anxiety, mood changes, insomnia, fatigue, confusion, or asthma. So any of these, and there's more symptoms, these are just the most common, can be from being sensitive to either a food or a chemical. And remember, in the first cleanse class, we talked about neural pathways start changing in about 21 days, where if you have food cravings, they start to lose their power and get weaker. But it takes a long time for these things to really be silenced, and they'll never go away completely. It's really like the same thing as addiction, because if you, for example, quitting smoking is the best. If you quit smoking, you forget about cigarettes. But if somebody starts smoking again, those pathways get reinforced again. And we don't want to reinforce the pathways. So the best thing to do, if you have something that you're really have either a sensitivity to, or like you have a sugar craving or addiction problem, then the best thing to do to get that neural pathway to calm down is to not have the sugar. And the thing is that nothing works better than this, but it's something that oftentimes for people is a process, and it can take a while. And during that time, I always tell people, give yourself and your neural pathways time to change, and be gentle with yourself. As kind to yourself as you would be with a friend, because it is difficult changing your diet. So there's going to be times when you're going to have food that you didn't intend to, or you didn't plan to, or you may feel bad about having, but I always tell people, just get back to square one and don't beat yourself up about it. Moving forward is really about changing how you think about and how you relate to food, and that takes time. And in the long run, when you eat healthy, you actually are eating to increase the joy and the quality of your life in the long term. When you eat badly, you're actually eating for a momentary pleasure, which has a debt attached to it. Everybody's experienced eating some sort of dessert that took 3 minutes to eat, and then you don't feel good maybe that night, maybe even the next day because you had too much sugar and didn't sleep well. And then you put weight on and feel bad about it. So it's amazing. There's such a large debt attached to eating these foods, and yet we still do it. But it's about really habits, and that's the neural pathways. So give them time to change. Start thinking about new fast foods, because you do have times when you're too tired or you don't have time or you're on the go, and you have to have fast foods. But you want to think of fast food not in terms of going somewhere and picking something up. Think about something that you could prepare. Some of my favorite fast foods are like almond butter, honey sandwiches. They travel well. They take, all of 30 seconds to fix. I like them. They taste good. And, so kind of start looking around and see what things might be great for you. Even scrambled eggs. I mean, scrambled eggs and some toast. That's, as long as you're eating a nice, good whole grain and you've got a good source for eggs, you're eating a very nutritious fast food without all the chemical load. Pre-made foods are wonderful. You can make salads for a couple of days on the weekend and have them throughout the week. Or prepare some foods for stir fry like you did on the cleanse and have that for a couple of days that you can use. Blended drinks are great to continue the shakes. Those are always wonderful fast foods. And then grilling. And I could go on, but just start thinking differently and come up with things that you like to do. So the question is what to eat now as you get off. I would say to stay with whole foods as much as possible. Eat healthy fats. I love the acronym BACON, butter, avocado, coconut, olive, and nut. And those are, eating nut butters, coconut, olive oil, avocado, or the avocado oil, and butter is fine. It's a very healthy fat. So feel like you can have that in your diet. Whole grains, definitely whole grains. And include new grains that you've never had before, like bulgur, millet, spelt. Spelt is a great, spelt bread is great because the gluten in it is very easy to digest compared to wheat. And the best thing about these grains is they're not hybridized like our more popular wheats, like grains like wheat are. And then you're going to be eating organic fruits and vegetables, as much as you can eat organic. Meats and fish that are fed naturally, antibiotic-free, naturally fed, humanely treated. Nuts and seeds, very good fast foods also. And if you're going to have dairy, make sure you have organic raw dairy because that is a live food. It's incredibly good for your digestive system. Most people think that they have dairy issues when the problem is that they're typically having pasteurized dairy. And there's a lot of chemicals in that, plus it's not a live food, it's pasteurized. It's been heated at a high temperature. There's nothing nutritious in there. Whereas a raw dairy is wonderful. And in this area we have some great sources like Sprouts and Sunrise Natural Foods that have good raw dairy. Definitely drinking water, 1/2 the body weight in ounces, and finding natural desserts. There's great desserts that once your taste buds are used to less stimulation, simpler foods will taste good. I love making milkshakes in the summer, and I still use honey in it, and then orange and banana and almond butter and some cacao beans, and it tastes fantastic. That's one of my favorites. But all you have to do to find great desserts, so you can ask me, I can give you some ideas, or just Google healthy desserts. And what to limit? Gosh, limiting is really easy. All processed food as much as possible. Cans, boxes, bags. Remember, the solution to pollution is dilution from the first class. There's so many chemicals in all of these foods that just wreak havoc on the body. And I would always say limit caffeine and alcohol because they both really have a negative effect on the body overall. And you hear benefits of drinking wine, you hear benefits of drinking coffee, but the truth is the negative benefits certainly outweigh any positive effect. And limit sugar. How much processed sugar should we consume? People often ask me that, and the honest answer is none. We shouldn't eat any of that. We should only eat healthy, natural sources of sugar. So every time you're having, a processed form of sugar, it's not good for you. And that's where you get that negative effect. So try to stick with things like whole leaf stevia, medicinal dates, honey, and bananas. Those are all great. Okay, so your game plan. Prior to your 2-week follow-up appointment, I want you to think about and write down 3 goals you have in regards to your health. Examples could be you want to lose 10 more pounds, improve your sleep, or you'd like to give up caffeine or even sugar. Then write down these 3 changes you're ready to make to achieve your goals and bring all 6 of these to your meeting with me, and then we'll go over those and talk about what you want to achieve and how you want to get there. And I'll be happy to help you come up with a game plan. If you do struggle with food cravings when you come into your meeting, please ask me. I have some great techniques that I like to give to people, and I've used myself to help kind of work with cravings. It's about really trying to relax with the food craving because there's a lot of tension that I want it and that neural pathway going crazy, and so I like to use relaxation quite a bit to help with that. So epigenetics. Epigenetics is just a field. It's a great field right now in looking at people's genetics and how they play a role. But the fact is that genes do not determine disease on their own. Genes function only by being activated or expressed, and nutrition plays a critical role in determining which genes, good and bad, are expressed. We literally are what we are born with and what we eat, what we think, and what we do. And so we can really change our lives. Okay, so now that you're end of this process, I want to give you some information on some of the nutritional testing that people will typically do at the end of a detox program. NutriVal is a great blood test which identifies which nutrients your body actually needs. It will tell you exactly what supplements you should be taking. This is great for people who feel pretty healthy and they just want to really fine-tune, and there's somebody who's going to be really good at taking supplements, and this way you can know for sure. This test is often covered by health insurance, which is really nice. Another test is a hair analysis. This one is not covered by health insurance, but it's relatively inexpensive, and it's great at telling you what nutritional deficiencies you have as well. And also what it does that I love is it tells you how your body tends to metabolize food. If you're a fast or a slow oxidizer, and it'll give you meal plans that are appropriate for you. For example, are you somebody who should eat a little bit more meat, or should you kind of lean on a little bit less meat? But it really tunes that, and it also looks at systems of the body and how they're functioning. So this is a great fine tuner. And one of the other benefits of it, it'll give you, if you have things like mercury in your body, metals, it'll let you know that as well. So the GI stool test that I have, this is for people who are finishing but are still having some digestive challenges. It actually tells you how your digestive system is actually working, how you digest and absorb food, and it identifies the root causes of digestive discomfort. Again, common conditions: IBD, IBS, constipation, diarrhea, food allergies, autoimmune, fibromyalgia, infections, bacteria imbalance, and many, many more. And so that's with people with digestive problems. And then at the bottom, food and chemical sensitivity testing. These are great for people who have a lot of health issues and can't really seem to identify what the causes of them are. This just identifies hidden causes of chronic health conditions. And the tests that I use include, it'll test for actually foods, molds, additives, preservatives, allergens, and environmental chemicals. Because foods are not the only culprits. And some of these tests are the GI2 test is actually covered by some insurances, but and some of the food sensitivity testing that I have are also covered, but that's individual. So really, you know, people, I always hear that it's too expensive to stay healthy, and it's, gosh, it's not expensive. It's the least expensive way to live. We all argue over healthcare and what to do, but I'll tell you, everyone would probably agree that the cost of it is going up. And I really believe that staying healthy will save you money in the long run. It also will give you a better quality and a happier life. I mean, that's what we all really want. And living healthier does improve the quality of life dramatically. I personally wouldn't turn back. I wouldn't trade in what I have now for, 3 Snickers bars a week or anything. Not worth it to me. So I hope that you're inspired, as I have been, and you continue on to be your personal best. As I said, you have quite a ways to go, and I hope you reach the heights you want to and the quality, and therefore you get to be an inspiration to others. And that's actually a great gift of all of this. So I will see you and look forward to seeing you on your appointment. And don't forget to write down the 6 things for me. And we'll see you soon.